What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Built Different podcast with Tucker Speed. In this episode, I was joined by my co-host, Jason Owens, and we sat down with Kellen Lee. Kellen's from North Carolina. He's just a dude that we've met a few years back at some rallies and shows, and we've just stayed in touch. The dude puts down a lot of miles every year, and we just enjoy his kind of enthusiasm and passion for our industry, and love sharing it with him. And it was a great opportunity to sit down and just talk about his travels and everything he's got going on. So I think you guys will enjoy this one and enjoy the story. Just remember, this podcast is brought to you by tuckerspeed.com, your one-stop shop for all your performance-related products for your Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Before we get going, leave us a 5-star review, follow the podcast, give it a listen.
Making power by day, making friends at night. Built different, Tucker Speed. Hell yeah, brother.
There we go.
Oh, we went live 20 seconds ago, so that's all on camera. Thanks, Owens.
Oh, no, hey, you gotta have some feedback. Gotta have some reels.
All right, let's get rolling.
Tony, yours is way far away.
Yeah. Good job.
I wasn't ready.
Fist distance.
Yeah.
Like
Fist
Rogan
distance.
said. Just out of reach of your tongue.
Uh-oh, what if you're Gene Simmons? What if you're Gene Simmons?
Cool, we're rolling. Kellen, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You came into town for a wedding or something,
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
And we're nice enough to kind of come over and hang out with us for a couple hours or whatever. So yeah, man, we first met, back in 2019, 2020-ish?
2020 at the V-Twin show.
Yeah, in Tennessee.
Smokies, yeah.
Just got to know you out there and kind of hung out. Did you guys go ride together that weekend?
I don't think we did.
Just
did.
hung out?
We hung out in the hotel when it was raining.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Man, that's been a few years ago. It doesn't seem like it, but it's crazy that it was 4 years ago, huh? But yeah, you were just out here. So where are you from originally?
Charlotte.
Okay.
I'm about 45 minutes east of Charlotte. It's called town of Monroe.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, and you said you came out here for a wedding.
Yep. And I was here in September.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that because you were on a big ride.
Yeah.
When you came through in September, right? This one not so glamorous, just a stupid wedding.
It hits different in a car, man.
Yeah.
The views.
It's dumb weddings.
Did you drive out this go around too?
No, I flew out.
Okay.
And that 4-hour flight was the hardest flight ever.
Really?
Yeah, it sucked.
Just
the turbulence, and I don't like not being in control.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got your pilot's license? So, yeah. That's out the window.
Wish.
No control there.
I wish.
So yeah, let's just talk about your ride. You did a big kind of almost cross country ride this year.
Yeah.
Starting in Charlotte, obviously.
Yep.
Walk us through that ride. I mean, I think, listeners probably, like to hear about those trips and things that go on and what goes into them. So let's just dive into that.
Well, back in 2022, I rode to Cali, and that's what set it off. That was my first long ride. Well, it started out as I never thought getting into Harleys I'd be riding cross country.
Mm-hmm.
I bought my first Harley. It was a Sport D48.
Okay.
And ever since then, I was hooked, and I upgraded to 09 Dyna, and then.
And one about, just to kind of set the scene, like how long ago was that you bought your Sporty?
I got the Sporty back in 2014.
Okay. About 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's right before we got married too.
Okay.
And I've always been into bikes.
Mm-hmm.
I was really into cars before that, just because watching Fast and Furious movies and all that.
Sure.
And then I grew up watching Jesse James and Kid Rock going to Mexico, riding their choppers. That's what really did it for me. And I always knew I wanted a bike. But my first bike was a 08 Gixxer 600.
Okay.
Yeah, and then...
kind of makes sense if you're coming from them, like, kind of Fast and Furious type cars and scenes to transition into sport bike.
Yeah. And then after that, what got me into Harleys is her dad, my wife's dad, had a '03 anniversary edition Softail. What was that? It wasn't a Heritage Softail. It was a Deuce, Softail Deuce.
Okay.
He asked me to go get it inspected, and just something about that V-twin rumble and muscle, that's what got me on the Sporty. I had to go get a Harley, and then after that, I was after the Dyna. I had that for a year. Then I upgraded to a 14 Street Glide. Had that for 9 months. Then the performance motorcycle scene popped off, and everybody was getting road glides, and that was a twin cam, and I wanted an M8, so I went ahead and got a road glide.
Okay.
M8 2020, and then I just rode here and there, and went to Daytona, and then V-Twin Visionary. That's what really started my long travel trips.
Okay.
Actually riding.
So those were some of your first big trips?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then what got me to ride to those places was he's gonna love this, but Jace, listening to his podcast,
Sure, yeah.
it was just why have a bike if you're not gonna ride it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not a show bike. I always say it's a clapped out road glide because of all the. I don't really take care of it like I should. Like it stays dirty, and
It's a rider.
yeah.
How many
But,
miles you got on it?
40,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where it's
I
at
just
right
roll
there.
Over 40. Not as many as I'd like to have on it, but
Sure.
Well, that's a good hit. I mean, you see a lot of guys. I mean, you nailed one of the big points right there. A lot of guys want to just sit there and say, "Hey, I got a Harley,"
Yeah.
keep it in their garage, and maybe it's got a couple grand on it. You know, when we get bikes in here, bikes like yours that have over 40, 50, that are even newer bikes that just kind of gets our blood pumping, because you're like, hey man, these guys are actually getting out there and ripping it. They're not just sitting here going to shows, keeping them parked out in front of a bar maybe. So yeah, I mean, kudos to you for that, for just getting out and getting after it. Yeah. And it brings stories too, when you're laying those miles down.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we met.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how we all met, because I rode to V-Twin Visionary and stayed in that hotel, and on a rainy day, we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because it was pouring down rain.
I ended up getting a cool pair of shocks out of the deal.
Yeah. I sold you those Olins.
Still got the Olins on there. Got a good deal on it. And yeah, you had the D&D as well. Mm-hmm. And I mean, man, you've been swapping pipes like I have, and cams.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting. You got that HPI, right?
No, I sold that.
You sold that one?
Put the hot rod pipe on it.
See, I was hoping I'd get an HPI, baby.
I've had 6 pipes on that bike because I like change.
You're a man after my own heart.
Bike.
I like it.
Yeah.
Always R&D in and testing new stuff.
Yeah.
So then it sounds as though that, you also like to be tinkering with the bike.
Yeah.
You didn't just buy it and just ride it off the showroom floor and put 40K on it.
Yeah.
You're mixing it up. You're throwing parts at it, trying this, trying that. What influences you to buy 6 pipes? I mean, is it just for educational reasons? Like, are you just trying them all out? Is it just you see one, you like it, you want to do it? Like,
I just get tired of the sound.
Uh-huh.
Well, this last time I changed, is going back to the trip, is because the Pisani is a mid-length. Mm-hmm. I think what it was it echoes off the bag and the ground, and it was just droning like crazy.
Okay.
So that's what made me go back to a full-length D&D, just to put the sound behind me.
Just get it out back, yeah.
Or I'm just getting old and tired of loud pipes.
You're going to be riding a stalker soon.
Not that. I thought about it, but
no stock. Hey, what does your wife think about, spending this money on all the different parts? I mean, she just think you're crazy. It's like, hey, babe, I want to get another exhaust.
I have tried her to let me get carbon fiber wheels, and that's a no. Those are like $6,000.
That's where she drew the line.
Yeah. And then,
and that's not a cheap purchase.
No.
Yeah.
No. The BST, is that what you've been eyeballing? Yeah.
And swing arm and all that. It's just, to me, I'm a tightwad kind of. So, like, that's why I run stock rotors on my bike, because there's nothing wrong with them. They run just fine.
Sure.
And I've asked plenty of guys that have had the what's the name of them?
Galfers, maybe.
Galfers and Lindols and all the other brands.
And they say that I've ridden with Galfers too, and somebody else's bike, and I didn't really feel much difference.
Yeah.
You have to really be racing them.
To really use them for what
Yeah.
they're designed to do. Like, I mean, I think the stock rotor does everything you need to do.
Yeah.
For regular street
I mean,
riding.
for street riding,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I talked to Steve Chamberlain, and he ran stock rotors on his bike for a good bit on a trip, and
even while he's
Obviously.
racing, because I mean, he would ride that bike to the races and then run it. So he was running the same stocks, right?
I don't know if he was
Probably.
running stock rotors on.
I would bet that.
when he was racing, but
Maybe. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, brakes are one of those things. Like, I mean, and don't get me wrong. I mean, and I should be careful what I'm saying because I sell all this
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, brakes are, I mean, they're a nice upgrade. And I definitely think that you can
Yeah.
change the feel, especially when you start doing calipers
Yeah.
and master cylinders and
they
stuff.
definitely
like that.
look good. They're a piece of jewelry on
For sure.
the bike.
They're definitely beautiful pieces of, machinery and parts. But I think for your just average daily riding, the stock setup does everything you
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
it to do.
Yeah.
They're Brembos.
They're
Yeah,
Brembos.
I was
I mean,
about to say the
that's
calipers are Brembo.
you know,
It's not-
they're, what are they, 11/8? I mean, they're a good sized rotor. They do everything you need to do for, especially for cross country riding, right? I mean, if your jam is like heading out and doing 100 miles an hour through the canyon all the time, and that's all you do, maybe.
Yeah. Well, don't get me wrong. When those start warping or whatever, I'll put some calipers on.
Sure.
But until they,
You just haven't seen the need to spend
Yeah.
that money yet.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We got a Black Friday sale going on right now, so you can get those on the cheap.
That's a nice plug.
Yeah. There you go.
You're always trying to upsell, baby.
Yeah. No, but so let's get back to that trip, your cross country trip this year. How many miles? What was your route? Where'd you go? What'd you see?
I think it was about 6,500 miles.
Okay.
Total, or maybe a little more than that. I can't really remember, but we went. I started out from Charlotte, went to stay the night at my buddy's house outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, and then from there, woke up early that morning, did 981 miles to, I think it was Nebraska City, Nebraska,
Oh, okay.
and
a
then
good rip,
That's a good.
yeah.
Almost 1,000.
Yeah, almost 1,000 in a day is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really not that bad because you're just trying to. Yeah. My buddy from First Film Manufacturing, he does the sales, Aaron. He said
Oh,
just
yeah.
take it tank by tank, and that's what I do. And I barely eat. I just eat meat sticks and energy drinks and go,
Yeah.
gas up and go.
Do you ever get mental game with it, like a mental block towards the end? Getting that
Coming back.
750-ish, I guess going out, you're fired up, you're
Yeah,
amped up.
yeah.
Adrenaline's kicking.
Yeah. And you got the 2-hour time change that helps
Right.
you out with that. So, but coming back, it was hard.
Right.
But anyway, from Nebraska City, I crashed at a hotel there and then got up. I think I went to Jackson, somewhere. I had it in my mind. My mind's blank. It draws blanks. Rock Springs, Wyoming. That's where I went next.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I just hung out there for a night. I can't remember how far that was. It wasn't that long. I think that was a 600-mile day. And
Seems about right. Rock Spring. I mean, I don't know where Nebraska City is.
it's right there near the line of
It's
east.
Is it on the east side?
Yeah.
So
east
yeah.
of Omaha, I think.
Yeah. I
Pretty
mean,
much that whole day I was in Nebraska.
Yeah. Nebraska's a lot longer than you think it
Yeah.
is.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But yeah,
getting
Rock
cornholed.
Springs, probably about 500 or 600 miles out to Rock Springs.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing in Rock Springs,
No.
but
This is a nice little quiet town.
yeah.
And then after that, I woke up that morning, picked my wife up in Jackson Hole
Okay.
from the airport. And then that's where going to the airport, you have to go through Grand Teton National Park. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much where the airport is. And then, man, the views out there is
Yeah.
amazing. It's like out here.
Right.
You got the Rockies out here, just mountains everywhere.
Yeah.
Those things are huge, though, the
Yeah.
Tetons.
Yeah. Because out east, we don't have any of that. We got the Smoky Mountain.
You got rolling
Yeah.
hills,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
but you don't have especially anything like the Tetons
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. And then we did Jackson Hole that whole day, and then we rode up to Montana we did Yellowstone after that, after Grand Teton.
Uh-huh.
And we rode through Yellowstone, and we got a house. No, it was actually a glamping tent in Big Sky.
Okay.
And then we
That's
rode
cool.
horses and all that.
Oh, nice.
Did Montana stuff. And then after that, we rode to Washington. And no, we did from Montana to Idaho. We did Lolo Pass. And that was a good ride. It was rainy, a little rainy, but not too bad. After that, where was I? What?
Yeah, Lolo.
Lolo Pass. And then we stayed a night there in a cabin, and then we went to Washington and Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And we rode. This is the big highlighted trip between Oregon and Washington. There's a gorge, and we were on the Washington side to get to our Airbnb, the tiny house we had. We were hit by 50-mile-an-hour side winds, and that was probably the scariest moment I've had on a bike.
Really?
Yeah, because
With the wife on the back, too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had my saddleman bag on top of my tour pack, was just like,
So you were loaded up.
yeah. And I was doing all I could. I had to downshift a second just to keep it up and
Man,
keep the bike up and go like 20 miles an hour. It was insane.
just laid into it.
Yeah. And I was getting, I couldn't stop. There's no point in stopping because,
There's nothing there.
no, there's nowhere to get cover.
Yeah.
And it wasn't going to stop being windy
Sure.
because that's where all the tourists go for parasailing and
Okay.
windsurfing and all that. But we made it to our tiny house. The next morning we rode to Astoria, Oregon.
Okay.
That's way up upper left corner.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the end of the Lewis and Clark
The trail. Okay.
Yeah, so we pretty much rode that whole trail.
Okay.
And
That's cool.
Yeah.
Was that on purpose, or
No.
is that just the route that you ended up
Yeah.
taking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if maybe you were a big Lewis and Clark fan or
Oh,
something.
no.
And
no.
following their footsteps. But
Yeah.
that's cool though.
Let me backtrack to Lolo Pass. My wife found this natural spring on Lolo Pass. It's not anywhere on the maps. You kind of just have to do a lot of research on how to find it.
Mm-hmm.
But that was cool. I call it nature's hot tub.
Like a spring you could go down and soak in.
Yeah, you had to hike. It was about a 30-minute hike to get to. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was on Lolo Pass, and you had to look for landmarks to find where to pull off
Okay.
and park and hike. But yeah, that was.
Were you alone up there, or were there other people up
There
there?
was a couple other people, but
Okay. Not
by the
crowded.
time we got there, the guy left. We had our own little private time, and then 2 other people showed up, and then that's when we were about ready to go anyway.
Right on. That's cool.
Yeah, it was legit. After Astoria, rode to Eugene, and then I dropped her off at the Eugene airport,
Okay.
and then I could have went through Boise, Idaho, to get to Salt Lake because I wanted to see the Salt Flats. That's where I was going before I came here to stay with Jo. And but I went down through. I wanted to hit Nevada, so I went down through South Oregon into Nevada, and there's this mountain I was on. You're going up, and there's no guardrail. And I'm telling you, that was another scary moment because I don't like heights. And when
Okay.
you're going up a mountain, I was in third gear just cruising.
Was that coming out of Oregon?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was still at the bottom of Oregon
Okay.
into Nevada.
Okay.
Yeah. And then that was nerve-wracking.
So then you stopped here for a night, right?
Yeah.
And then headed to the Salt Flats?
Yeah. I
Okay.
actually stopped at the Salt Flats first because I just typed in Salt Flats and it took me to that little rest stop,
Okay.
the highway.
Yeah.
So I called my buddy, hey, where did you take that picture at with the Speedway, Great Salt Lake Speedway, Bonneville Salt Flats?
Sure.
And he said, oh, you got to go back and just type in Bonneville Salt Flats. And then I went there,
Okay.
took a couple pictures there.
Sure.
And
Did you go out on the salt at all?
I did.
Did you?
Not
Okay.
not far.
Yeah.
But I did. There's a couple people out there messing around doing
Sure.
donuts and stuff. Then I headed
Did
to
you run
James.
it? Did you take your bike and actually do
Go fast.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people go out there and take pictures too. Did you?
Yeah.
You hit that
yeah.
up? Okay.
Yeah. Then I hit up J.O.'s house.
Okay.
Yeah. And
And then did you just straight shot at home from here?
no, I stayed in that same hotel I stayed at in Nebraska.
Okay.
I think it was Nebraska City. From here to Nebraska City, and then from there stopped in Clarksville, Tennessee, to see. I stayed with Millhouse from Thundermax,
Okay.
and then from there I went home. And then luckily, it's crazy because the week after, I went through the Smoky Mountains from North Carolina on the I-40 from Tennessee to North Carolina. A week after that is when Hurricane Helene came through, which I thought was just insane. I'm glad I did it when I did because
Sure.
I would have had to take a detour.
Yeah.
But
Did you get affected by the hurricane at all?
no.
No.
We just got a lot of rain.
Just rain, but nothing, no destruction?
No.
Okay.
We got a lot of wind, but no.
Where was it, like the place that got hit the hardest, where's that from you?
It's about 3 hours away.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a little ways.
Yeah.
Are you pretty inland in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like right in the middle of North Carolina.
Okay.
I'm 45, maybe 30 minutes from the South Carolina line.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a rip. So you said 6,500 miles, huh?
Yep.
That's a good run, man. How many days
11 days. That's about the same one I did back in 22.
is it?
Yeah.
When you came out to California, you
Yeah.
said?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good, I mean, there's not a lot of guys. I mean, I hate to say it, there really isn't a lot of guys that do those kinds of trips, man. I mean, they're out there, but there's way more guys with motorcycles than there are guys that do that kind of mileage.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned earlier that, you know, you kind of were inspired by Jace and his podcast and everything. I mean, and they talk a lot about riding. I mean, Jace obviously rides a lot. He takes a lot of, you know, a couple of trips a year or whatever. Is that inspired kind of your take on motorcycling, you think?
Yeah. I had a lot to do with it
Sure.
because after I started listening to his podcast, the first episode, I was like, man, I'm never going to ride my bike that far. Mm-hmm. And then once I started doing those trips to V-Twin, Daytona, and just around the East Coast, I still haven't been up north on it. That's my next trip to go to Canada.
Okay.
But I did Craig's down south camp out. That was another trip I did. That was my first moto camping trip I did. That was fun.
Yeah.
If I had known that there was as many places to camp on my last trip, I would have packed a tent,
Okay.
camped in
Sure.
parks and stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he had a big influence on
That's cool.
me riding far.
That's cool to hear that, you know, like guys like him are, you know, inspiring riders. I mean, and that has a big trickle down effect on the rest of the industry,
Yeah.
right? Like you buy a motorcycle and then you buy another motorcycle and then you buy 6 exhaust systems, you know what I mean? Like all this, you know, it has a trickle down effect into the rest of the industry just from that.
Yeah.
It's cool to see.
Yeah. But I like to like that. I like to influence people just to get out and ride.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, why have a bike if you're just gonna put it in show? Because I'm not gonna try to put it down, but my father-in-law, he has a big wheel bagger, and I put more miles on my bike than he has his whole career, and he's the one that got me into Harleys. But he
Yeah.
doesn't have much time. He's a trucker, so I'll give him
He
that.
puts down enough
Yeah.
miles
Yeah.
already. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough, man. And I'm not going to kind of like, I guess I can't sit on a high horse of like putting down miles because I'm not one of those dudes. Like I don't do 10,000 a year. Like I just don't. I don't have the time. I do motorcycle stuff every day,
Yeah.
but I don't ride that much. But, you know, everybody does it for different reasons, I think. You know what I mean? Like, and there's no right or wrong reason. Like, I know plenty of dudes that buy a new bike every couple years,
Yep.
drop 20 grand into it, just,
Yep.
you know, they build a motor and they do suspension, they do brakes, and they do paint, and they do all this, and then they sell it and they do it again. And the enjoyment for them is just kind of the build.
Yeah.
And if that's what makes them happy, do it, man. Like, go for it. But
Yeah.
I would encourage people. I think it's probably better for the industry if people ride. So I would encourage people to go out and ride.
Yeah.
Hop on the bike. I mean, I probably wouldn't recommend just biting off 6,500 miles in your first trip. You know what I mean? Like, go out and do some day trips. You know, an overnighter.
Build up your stamina
Sure.
to be on the bike that long.
Do some weekend trips. You know, do 1,000 miles in a couple of days. You know what I mean? And then just see where it goes from there. So yeah, get out and ride.
Yeah,
I think.
just find you a good group of homies
Yeah,
that
makes it.
like-minded and
Yeah,
do it with them.
That makes it a lot
That's fun
easier.
too. But a lot of the guys that I hang out with, they can't take off that kind of time to do it. Like Joe Kidd says, you either have a lot of money and no time, or you have no money and you have time to take the trip. So
I don't know if I have either. No.
What do you prefer then, as far as if you were going on a long trip, would you rather roll solo or with a pack? What do you think? Or is it just
since I've done the past 2 big trips solo, I like solo better.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, just because I can stop when I want. You can stop and piss when I want. You just because I
You can go when you want.
yeah.
Plan your
I
own
don't have
trip.
to worry about anybody else.
Yeah.
your
know
own
what I mean?
routes, because then
Yeah.
you got that aspect. If you got 5 or 6 other dudes, one guy may not want to go that route,
Yeah, and then you got the gas stops. Some guys want to get off their bike and hang out for a minute,
Sure.
and that
Yeah.
takes a lot of time, more time than you think. And yeah, I like solo better. But if it's like from Charlotte to Tennessee or Daytona, I'm down to roll with the homies.
Sure.
And that, yeah,
Did you find on those solo trips, like, a lot of time for self-reflection?
yeah, oh yeah.
Did you discover things maybe about yourself or the world or whatever? I mean, what are some of those things you
Just-
feel like you found?
Just perspective, man. Just
Uh-huh.
we're so caught up in our everyday life that you don't. When you're on the back of a bike from sunrise to sunset, it just hits different. Like you just take time off from the daily stress, and you're just on the back of your bike. You see the sun rising behind you, and then the sun setting in front of you. It hits different, man. It's very few people know that feeling. This is just like Jace talks about in his podcast. He knows that feeling. He knows what I'm talking about.
Sure.
And the people that do it, like the 2-lane life guys, they know that feeling. It's unexplainable.
Sure. Yeah, it's just it's such a detachment from, like you said, real life or your regular life, the routineness,
Yeah.
going to work, taking care of the wife, taking care of the kids or whatever it is you do, like you just, it almost just takes you back in time. Sometimes I think like, cowboys of the old West where, I don't know. I just feel like it just takes you to a simpler place and lets you focus on you and what's important in life. And
You think about all kinds of things like that. Like I was just riding, and you think about like back in the day, they did this on horse and buggy or on the back of horses.
yeah,
It's insane when you just like I said, perspective, man. You think about things you wouldn't have thought about in your daily life,
I
or
think-
even in the car.
yeah. And I bring up the cowboys of the old West because like anytime wherever, even if we're in the truck and trailer, like driving across the plains or whatever, I just think like people walked across this place.
Yeah.
I think it's a long time for me to get from here to Nebraska. Like imagine walking that thing, or riding it on a horse.
Yep.
But yeah, it just puts things in perspective and kind of centers you, keeps things in balance. Maybe I need to do a little more of this, huh?
I think so. I wish we could actually. I know it sucks. I think it'd be awesome to be able to shut down. I know we do the events and all that, but like no kidding, do what Kellen's done and block off a week. And let's say we go and run a 5,000 mile hit, and just go see it and pick a spot.
It's hard when you work in the industry.
Yeah, it is.
What do you do for a living?
Jo knows we build aircraft ground equipment.
Okay.
So what we do is we build.
So you're Air Force?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not military.
Okay.
You're doing the age equipment, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We build the trailers that haul the F-35 jet engines
Okay.
around the base.
So you just work for like an aerospace company or something of
Yeah.
this sort?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what they do is they put those jet engines in those engine shipping systems is what they're called.
Uh-huh.
So they can move them around the base and all that and work on them, put them
Okay.
in the jets and all that.
Okay.
What I do is I put markings on everything that, like it says tie down here with the arrow pointing to the tie down.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do.
That was you? That was you
Yeah.
the whole time? I bet.
Yeah.
Did you just do 35s, or did you do all different types of airframe or engines?
it's,
Was it whatever you get for a contract?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly 35s.
Gotcha. So doing the new stuff,
Yeah.
the 5th gen. See, I'm on Legacy. I'm a Legacy guy now. It's crazy. It's like I feel like I'm a World War II vet now.
Yeah.
You're old enough to be.
Haha.
So yeah, I mean, I guess, just getting on the bike and just going out and, forgetting about work for a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
kind of leaving the routineness and the monotony of life. But man, it does get hard around here to do that. I mean, unfortunately, we're a small business and we're busy during the summertime and all that. And we do spend a lot of our, traveling trips going to shows, but yeah, we do need to ride more for sure.
Yeah. I mean, at least we got, I think you incorporating, the monthly ride outs. I mean, man, that's helped.
Yeah.
I mean, just getting together, doing a short rip. But I mean, we're kind of with a, good group of people here. And
We got a good
it's fun,
customer base here that
Yeah.
on our ride outs is good. So yeah, like this is our second year of the ride out.
Right.
And it's kind of forced me to like at least hop on the bike occasionally and go for a ride with everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's good for me.
I wish I had a shop in Charlotte like y'all, man. The first time I came here in September,
Uh-huh.
I walked in this showroom. I was like, man, I'm a kid in a candy store.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, we're just trying to do what we love. I mean, and it's the same thing you do. I mean, just trying to, we go to these shows and stuff and then we see how cool it is and all the cool stuff that goes on around the country. We just try and, bring it back to Utah and show people here that
Yeah.
there's more to this culture than just hanging out at the dealership.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because anywhere you go, there's a dealership,
Yeah.
right? But it's different.
Yeah.
That's a different thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just try and do what we can here, man.
Yeah.
So-
One thing I like about Utah is, oh no, that's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say on this last trip, I didn't step foot in a Harley dealer.
Really?
Yeah, and I went through 13 states, and I didn't go to Harley because there's no reason for me to. I don't buy the
Passed
shirts.
up a lot of poker chips, man.
Yeah, I know. But
Yeah.
How much service did you have to do on the bike on your way?
on the way out, I didn't service it. The only service I did was at
here?
J.O.'s house.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I serviced it as soon as I got back.
Okay.
That was another 3,000 miles.
Okay.
So
So just fluid changes.
yeah.
You made it all the way there and back on tires?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And obviously then no incidents or issues with the bike then?
The only issues with the bike was I didn't know what it was at first. The first couple of days, my cruise would start cutting in and out, like it would have a mind of its own. And then after I picked my wife up, it ran fine. And on the way back, I was like, "Hey man," I text JR. I was like, "Hey man, I called a couple guys like the Goo, Millhouse, and they didn't know because I figured they put miles down too. I didn't know if they had issues with it. And then I got back home. It turned out I thought there was an open recall for the brake lights. I thought that had something to do with it. So I got that recall flashed, and then it still kept doing it. So the Harley tech said we swapped out the rear brake switch, and that's what it was.
Okay.
So that was it. The whole
Brake
time.
light was just flickering
Yeah,
and turning the cruise off. Okay.
just a bad
But nothing.
switch.
So on the trip then, it was pretty event free then.
Yeah.
No issues.
Yeah,
Did an oil change once and headed home.
that was a pretty smooth trip.
Yeah.
Did you see anything like it's out there? Anything crazy like happen in front of you?
No,
Yeah,
I saw a huge mountain lion in Wyoming
Really?
in the median that got hit.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, that
dead.
sucker. They look a lot bigger in real life.
Yeah, right.
But
Yeah.
Oh, that's rare. I've never seen a
I've never
mountain lion.
seen one.
Yeah, never seen one of them.
yeah,
I've only ever seen one once in my life. It was alive. It wasn't dead.
He was
But-
freaking stalking you when you were out there scoping
Yeah.
with your old man, maybe.
Yeah. We were deer hunting, and sure enough, there
like-
it was, man.
yeah.
Those things are wild, and when you come up on them, it was dark, but we just saw its eyes in the headlight, and we were just like, whoa.
Oh, you were in a car.
We were, yeah.
Oh, okay.
we were
I was about to
excited.
say.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah, we weren't walking.
Okay.
I was gonna say, it'd be like in those videos you see on the reels where guys got a pistol and the mountain lion comes after him.
Yeah.
Shoot it.
No, not that close. I mean, it was probably like 50 yards from the front of the truck or whatever. But yeah, they're just crazy animals. But yeah, that's crazy to see one on the highway.
Yeah, I know. I was shocked.
Yeah. So then, I mean, man, it sounds like a boring trip then.
Yeah, I mean,
no breakdowns.
The first trip.
No crazy.
Yeah, back in 22, I broke down and I was actually going to Jace's house.
Okay.
And I got a flat right outside of Dallas. So I didn't make it to Jace's house. I ended up having to plug it and put some air in it with the Lexington tire pump. And then I limped it to Hingham High Custom right outside of Dallas.
Okay.
And I stayed the night there instead.
Okay. Got a
Hooked
tire
it up.
change.
Yeah.
That Lexington
No.
pump is money.
I didn't change the tire.
Oh, you didn't?
I actually
You kept
ran
going?
that tire when I got back with the plug. It was a cruise deck. And I ran it to Tennessee and Daytona after that.
Okay.
So
It was good to go.
It was
huh?
holding air,
Right on.
and those tires ain't cheap.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah, well, we always wish for we always leave on the trips and everything and, hope for no issues, but rarely does that happen. So must have been doing something right.
yeah,
But we always joke that, if nothing goes wrong, there's nothing to talk about later,
Yeah.
like no crazy
yeah,
broke down on the side of the road
Yeah.
type stuff or, incidents or crashes or whatever it might be.
yeah.
But
Something for me and my wife to talk about was that wind, that cross
Yeah.
wind. That was insane.
yeah.
So, and I didn't think it was 50 miles an hour, but my buddy that lives at home with me, he said, "Yeah, those are 50-mile-an-hour winds. I used to live up there." I don't know
Okay.
what you're talking about? So, it was 50.
It felt it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of trips you got coming up? Got anything planned?
I might be able to afford a couple more trips now that the economy is supposed to be getting better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, I'm planning on doing up north. Like I said, I go through New York City,
Okay.
go through New Hampshire, Laconia area, and hit Canada.
Have you ever done Laconia Bike Week or whatever?
I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't done that one either. Heard it's decent, but never made it out there.
I just hear the riding up there is just beautiful.
Yeah.
That's one spot in the country I haven't hit yet. I'd really like to get that East Coast, like even upstate New York. My buddy, he had a retirement out there and where he lived. I can never pronounce the name of that mountain range out there, but man, I guess when you think of New York, you always think of the city, but man, there are some rolling hills out there and some curves and corners that I was like, I need to come out and hit this spot. So
Nice.
hopefully I can get out there one time. Maybe I have to come and crash at your house and,
Oh, yeah.
and roll out there
Yep.
and hit that East Coast side.
Come on out.
And we love going to, my favorite spots is, that East Tennessee,
Yeah.
West North Carolina, where V-Twin was at, that Smoky Mountains. I mean, that's I always try to, it's always a plan. Like my old man and I always want to hit there. It always seems like in the summer, just the rainstorms that are hitting there. It's kind of, I think, even when we were there, it always seemed like it rains. It's almost like Florida. It rains like at 3 or 4 in the evening.
Yeah.
A
Don't
light
last
hit.
long either.
But yeah, they're just like light hits. But a couple of them, when we had planned going out there, it was no kidding, like a storm. Maybe a hurricane had come through and you guys were getting hit. And so we'd have to change plans because trying to ride a week in the rain, that's just no fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, man, you got some beautiful country out there. It's probably one of my favorite spots to go to and ride.
Yeah.
I mean, that dragon, the rattlesnake. I mean, all those runs we hit a couple runs out there, man. Hopefully we can get back maybe this year. Throw that out there, T. hit V-Twin this year.
Kind of on your cross-country trips, I mean, what part of the country do you feel like has the best riding, in your opinion?
That's tough.
I mean, where you live, or close
Yeah.
to there is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it is East Tennessee.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because I rode.
I mean, I don't know that I would disagree with
Nah, I
that.
can't.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
rode.
no.
What's that road in California where everybody takes? It's like the Dragon for California.
That's going up. Isn't that around Beverly Hills?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they got all the cars roll that thing.
Yeah,
What is that one called? Did you hit that one?
yeah, I did, and I don't know if it's because I didn't know the road, and I had my wife on the back. I just couldn't rip it like I wanted to.
Sure.
I like East Tennessee.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't done Sturgis area yet, so I've heard
Okay.
that's nice riding.
The Black Hills are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Spearfish Canyons.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
If you're a rider and you like to ride, don't try and do it during Sturgis.
Oh yeah.
no doubt.
I don't
Too many-
really. I don't really care for the rallies. 'Cause
Yeah.
they're all the same. It's just
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. If you want to go ride the Black Hills, don't go during Sturgis. I mean, otherwise, I mean, it's just a train going through a motorcycles. You're doing 20 miles an hour through the canyons.
Yeah, that's my plan. I plan on going non-rally.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to ride it, that's when you want to go.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a beautiful area. I mean, like he said, Spearfish Canyon, up around Rushmore, Deadwood, all that. You know,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful area. I mean, southern Utah is pretty good, I think.
Oh yeah.
The Durango area, like southern Utah into like southeast Colorado into Durango, is all I think.
Yeah, I do want to check out Four Corners though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looked like a fun event.
The rally
It
is
is.
a lot of fun, man. We enjoy that event. It's low key enough that it keeps it enjoyable.
Yeah. I was gonna say it doesn't look too big.
And that's not a dig on Four Corners. I like that about Four
Yeah.
Corners.
Yeah.
You know what I
same
mean?
here.
That's how V-Twin Visionary Smoky Mountain show
Yeah.
used
Yep.
to be, but now they made it not Jeff Holt, but the town made
Kinda
it
turned it
Smoky
into the
Mountain
rally.
Bike Week.
Yeah.
And that,
Oh, really?
that just killed it for me.
Uh,
It's good for Jeff because more brothers see what he's doing,
Sure.
put out the performance stuff. But that first year when I met you guys,
Yeah.
that was it. Because we had all the performance. That's when performance Harleys were popping off,
Yeah.
and we had Steve, Forever Rad Kyle,
Yeah.
and the Clean Moto guys. They didn't have Clean Moto back then, but they were out there. Just everybody in that little niche. They were out there, and it was a good time
Yeah.
hanging out with all them.
Yeah, that I think I went out there twice. 2 years I went out there for the Smoky Mountain tour, and it's a good time. It wasn't a rally, but it was bigger than a bike night. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it was a cool event,
Yeah.
and then just surrounded by good riding.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of cool people from the industry there, so it was just big enough. And I mean, and Four Corners is bigger than that was like 4 years ago, but yeah, there's just cool pockets around the country. I mean, I definitely want to get northeast though.
yeah.
if you do, let me know. Maybe I can make that trip happen the same time
Sure.
you guys go.
Yeah.
Right.
I've actually never been northeast.
Yeah.
Like the most
I've not.
northeast that I've ever been is when we were in Pittsburgh a couple years ago.
Right.
I mean, we were just there for a race.
Yeah.
That's like as far northeast as I've gotten.
That's farther than me. Farthest I've gone Maryland and DC.
Okay.
But I do want to hit up Sturgis and that whole area. I haven't been there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sturgis is, that's a unique place, man. It really is. Like just that whole area. I don't even know how to explain the Black Hills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not huge mountains. But it's just, I don't know, beautiful.
yeah, I want to hit up Born Free too.
Yeah,
But
the
probably
Born Free,
Texas.
California or Texas.
Yeah.
I've heard. I've been to California. I have not gone to Texas yet. I've heard they're two totally different vibes.
Yeah.
Events.
I would go to Cali, but I just don't like big crowds.
It's a big crowd and it's a lot. It's a weird little spot they do it at in that canyon. You don't have any cell service up there, so you're totally detached from the world, which is probably not a bad thing, and it's hotter than hell in there.
Yeah.
But I want to make Texas at some point. That'd be I think it looks like it's probably going to change with time. I'm sure Born Free California started out as kind of this small kind of, kind of like the Smoky Mountain Tour, and then it starts to evolve and become bigger and bigger, and then it becomes something it was never intended to be, or just bigger. And sometimes bigger is not better.
Yeah.
But
Where's that one at in Texas? Where do they hold that one?
Yellow Rose Canyon.
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure
don't know
where
where exactly where
I don't
that
know where
is.
that's at either. I mean,
I'm just curious
Texas.
if it was around that three.
kind of vague. Texas is so big.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I didn't
somewhere.
know if it was around that three. Is it the Three Sisters? I hear that route is just like that rolling hills of Texas, man. And it just, they say it's some of the beautiful, I guess it's the Texas Hill Country.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like that area where they
Yeah.
got some good, you can get some good runs in.
I've heard about that road too.
Yeah. I've not hit that one yet. I've been rolling the I-40 on Texas, man. It's almost like Nebraska, just open. And you're like, man, what am I getting through this state? But wind hitting you. It's like you hit Texas and the wind just like boom right in your face. But anyway.
What about your bike? Plan on keeping it?
Yeah.
Looking at new ones?
Like I said, dude, I would love to have a new one.
Yeah.
I test rode one and I was very close to,
A 24?
yeah.
Okay.
Because you don't need to do anything.
Really?
In my opinion.
That's what we all say. We
Those,
all say
yeah, those bars are comfy.
Are they?
Yeah, and the motor has the same power as my motor, and I have a 475 cam.
Okay.
It comes in a little different, of course.
Sure.
But, yeah, the seat,
Did you just ride one of the standard?
yeah, it was standard. It had slip-ons on it, but
Okay.
the seats
Not the
even
CVO with the VVT or nothing.
Nah.
Okay.
but I'm keeping it, man. Like I said, I'm cheap. We're about to build a house too, so
Okay.
the banks don't like to see a loan on your
Sure.
credit, but yeah, I'm keeping it.
For now.
Yeah. Well, no, I'll probably keep it even if I do get a new bike.
Oh, really? Just get another
Because
one?
my boy, he likes to ride.
Okay.
He's riding dirt bikes now.
How old is he?
8.
Okay.
He rides on the back of the road glide with me.
Okay.
I go places, but yeah, he's ripping it. He's already trying to, because my wife has a 883 Sporty,
Okay.
which I'd put a Hammer 1275 kit on it. Mm-hmm. That's probably going to be his bike first, and then the road glide.
that'd be a good little ripper for him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That 1275 is a good kit.
No, that's cool. You just have one kid?
2.
2?
Yeah.
How old?
5. 8 and 5.
8 and 5?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's another thing about trips, man. You don't realize how much you love somebody when you're not with them.
Meaning
that
your
long.
kids?
Yeah. Well, like you don't.
You better say the wife too, because she's probably listening.
Yeah, wife and kids, man.
there you go.
You just realize how much you miss them.
I totally agree. I get that way very much.
Yeah.
It's like, it's funny because I work a lot. I spend a lot of time here, and so I don't see my kids a ton, but I see them every night.
Yeah.
Though, right. And then when I'm out of town, and it's like, yeah, just that couple hours every night or whatever, and they're dropping them off at school in the morning that I miss out on, and you're just like, man, I know it's just little things every day, but I miss those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's cool. You got to bring them. They are pretty involved, with the events, where
Yeah.
you're able to take them to the races, the shows.
My kids have
they
been
roll
pretty
out, man.
involved, and it's fun, man. And you'll probably start to experience that at some point. You start taking your kids to take them to a rally or a show or an event, and get to show them this kind of lifestyle and culture. And honestly, man, it makes for me it makes it even more enjoyable to kind of do what you love, and then to kind of be showing your kids the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
How old are your kids?
I have 4. I have 25, 24, 17, and 13.
Okay.
God, she's about to. Oh, Harley's about to roll out, man.
Yeah, she's almost 18. But yeah, my older 2 are kind of done and out of the house. Done being kids, I should say.
Do they ride?
No,
No?
man.
No.
None of my kids really are into riding. My youngest, she's probably been the most interested. Like, she has a dirt bike, and we'll go out and ride out in the desert and stuff sometimes, but she's not super into it. But yeah, none of my kids have really been into it that much. I've never tried to force it on them. You know what I mean? My son, I always was like, hey, you want to go ride? And he's like, nah, not really. Like he just was never into it that much, you know? And I didn't want to be the parent that just like forced them to do it, even if they didn't want to do it. Like, you know, I wanted them to find what they were passionate about, and I'll support them in whatever that is. The way they've supported me in this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, if you have kids and they're just like not into bikes, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Let them be them and let them discover what they're into.
Yeah.
So, hopefully it's bikes though, right?
Yeah. I think my boy will be in.
Yeah.
Because I exposed him to, they had a bell brawl in Daytona. And man, he can't stop doing donuts on his dirt bike.
Yeah.
Crazy Larry's.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He loves that stuff.
My youngest daughter, we were at one of the races, and they had the Bassani stunt crew. What's that dude's name?
Pulling.
Yeah. And he had a daughter there who, she was a young girl, you know, like she was like riding around doing stunts like on her BMX bike or a Stacy, like maybe an electric bike or something. And my girls thought she was like a rock star.
Yeah.
I mean, she was just kind of there hanging out, but doing stunts on her bicycle and stuff.
Yeah.
And my daughter still has a poster hanging in her closet that it was of Jason Pollan. But the daughter signed it, and my kid still has that poster hanging in her closet.
That's awesome.
So,
but I think my boy's gonna be his little stunt rider.
think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Like I tried to wheelie. I can wheelie the sporty, but I can't ride it out.
Sure.
I can get it up.
Kind of power wheelie it. Yeah.
But that's not my jam. I can't afford to fix if I lay it down and all that. But that's why I started riding long distance, because that's something I know I can do.
Sure.
So that's where I'm at.
Well, and stunt riding's just a different game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a different scene. But if there again, we get back to like, if that's what you enjoy doing with your bike, like go do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? More power to you. So, yeah. Well, cool, man. What else we got? Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I want to ask you about
Yeah.
what it's like racing a bagger.
Yeah.
Does it wobble? How do you keep it from?
I've never felt wobble on the
Really?
track. Never. I mean, I've had, you know,
Crazy.
wobble or bagger boogie or whatever it is you want to call it, out in the canyons or on the highways. I've never felt it on a racetrack.
Really?
Though. Yeah.
But on the streets, you felt it.
I've felt it, and I know it exists. I've
That's
seen
insane.
it. I mean, and I've worked on thousands of motorcycles that have had that issue, and you know, trying to resolve it and fix whatever it is that's wrong with it. But I've never had that issue on the racetrack. You know.
You think it's the way you're sitting on it, or the tires?
Yeah, maybe just a combo of everything. I will say this much. The very first race I ever did, it was actually here in Salt Lake. And I had just freshly built my race bike. I mean, like literally, like I unloaded it out of the dyno and pushed it in the trailer and we went to the track. Like I never rode it on the street. I had one of the Alloy Art frame stabilizers that I had bought for it that I was going to put on, but I just hadn't put it on yet. And we headed to the track, and I forgot it. So I rode the first day on the racetrack without it. Not that it was bad, but I had someone that was driving home that night. They stopped at the shop, and they grabbed it, and they brought it back out to the racetrack the next day, and I installed it. And it definitely made the bike handle. It just made it feel a little more stable. So I mean, obviously there's something happening out there. I also just think it's like, in my opinion, those wobbles out on the street have happened when you're kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but you're kind of mostly kind of in like a slight corner, just kind of like at a cruising RPM or a cruising speed, right? Not like wide open throttle. I'd say that on the racetrack, you're either wide open throttle or you're decelling and on the brakes, right? And there's like, never are you just kind of like cruising on a racetrack. And I don't know if it's that, but
I mean, I've seen some of those out there, that are racing. I'm trying to think.
you see it.
Which one? You'll see that back end just bucking. Now, I mean, at the same time, man, I think those are some of the GP bikes where you've got a professional rider they're no kidding, hitting that rear brake and drifting that rear into a corner, and you see it shimmy type deal.
Or you start to see it skip out, like on a corner exit. You see the back end kind of like, and I don't know I don't think, honestly, that's really a wobble. I think that's like the tire, like getting traction.
Yeah.
And like, but yeah, I've never felt it. But racing a bagger, it's like unlike anything I've ever done. It's unreal. But I can't compare it to any sort of road racing like on a sport bike because I've never done any of that. The only thing I've ever ridden on a road course is a bagger, and that's it. But
What was your favorite track?
Pittsburgh.
Really?
I mean, it's hard to not say Daytona.
I was wondering if you're gonna hitting those turns 3 and 4 coming out of the technical.
That's pretty up there.
Yeah. That bank, you just sit there and look up at that thing and you're thinking, okay.
I mean, it's wild to be. I mean, we geared that thing. We put as much gear on it as we could. We put the biggest front sprocket and the smallest rear we could on there. And then to go out there and still be in 6th gear and like trying to get more.
What is it? 131?
128. Mine's a 128. Yeah. I mean, that bike with what we call our big motor, it makes 165 horse. And to just be doing 150 miles an hour and feeling like you need more out there is wild. Yeah. But Pittsburgh was probably my funnest track. I feel like it was the most technical. It had a lot of elevation change, a lot of blind corners. Just very technical. I just had a blast at that track. If I could pick one track to ride again, besides Daytona, it would be probably Pittsburgh. Yeah. You ever thought about trying it?
Yeah, but I don't have money for that.
Yeah. That's
I would love to race a bagger.
Sure.
But
I mean, that's the hard part about bagger racing. I think that's the one thing that it holds it back from really scaling up.
Yeah.
It's just the expense of it, man. I mean, if you wanted to go road race this weekend on a sport bike, you could go buy like even a used, say Yamaha R6 and race like in a lightweight super bike or a, super sport class. You'd be into a used Yamaha R6 for $7 or $8 and that bike's going to be fairly competitive as it sits, right? Like your bagger, you got to go buy a, depending on what you buy, anywhere from, 10, 15, 20, $25,000 bagger. And then you're going to have to drop another minimum, probably $5,000 into it to get it track ready.
Now, would that be the super?
Like if you want to go super street racing,
Yeah,
have you followed what's like the new class in the bagger racing league? So they have a class that's called the super street class. It's supposed to be a class that makes it easier to get into. It's very limited on what you can do to your bike. Your bike might not even fit in the class, honestly. Really? I mean, I'm not sure what all you have done to your bike, but you can't have an aftermarket swing arm, a stock swing arm. You can't do any motor work.
Not even cam?
Or you can do a bolt-in cam. 117 is the max displacement. You can't do inverted front end. You can do +2 suspension, but you can't do inverted. The stock swing arm limits you to only a 14-inch shock on the rear.
I might be able to do it then.
It really is a performance bagger class. It's I mean, and albeit like the thing is a lot of the really nice built performance baggers out there probably couldn't even race in it because they have too much done to them. But you could buy some like kind of clapped out road glide, throw some suspension on it, and go race. I mean, Chris Rivas, he did this little project at the first of this year. He bought a crashed road glide. It was a twin cam road glide. It was like a 15 or something like that. Did all of his shopping on eBay, and he basically built a capable race bike for like $6,000.
Really?
Like he bought a wrecked bike and then just bought like a used front end, because I guess the front end was smashed on it. Used front end, kind of built it up, threw some shocks on it, threw a cam in it. Obviously, he was able to do a little bit more motor work because it was a twin cam. So he could do a big bore like he did, maybe like a 103 big bore on that thing, or a 110. Still fits within the rules.
Okay.
But yeah, he said he was in that project like $6,000.
That ain't bad.
So it's doable. Like if you really wanted to, man. I mean, but I would challenge you this, man. Like just go take your bike and just sign up for a track day.
Yeah.
Just go out there and ride a road course, man.
And you don't have to safety wire all the...
Depends on...
Do you got to do a pan and all that?
You might have to do like a belly pan and safety wire.
'Cause that was, I didn't even check that dude. So we were in Cali this weekend at Willow Springs, and that one guy from Kentucky, I mean, he brought his street glide out on the track. But that's one thing I didn't look to see if he had like a belly pan on that. I don't remember seeing that. But
pretty sure you had to.
Probably have to, right, to be on the track.
Yeah. And the safety wire thing for most organizations is going to be pretty minimal. It's going to be drain plugs,
Oil filter,
drain, like fill spouts. Like it really is kind of like any, like if it's one piece of hardware that would come off and allow oil to come out, like
brake calipers.
Not even so much that.
Oh, you don't have to do that one?
Not so much. I mean, it's not a bad idea, but I think their biggest concern is oil down.
Okay.
Like that's the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
Because that happened. Because on the fueling bike, I mean, his oil filters came off, and man, he sprayed the track. And dudes, there was guys after that. I think Arnie went down after that one too. So yeah.
The last thing they want is oil on the track.
Yeah.
But
Now, what were y'all doing in Willow Springs?
we were there.
Oh, Rockstar over here.
You were racing?
He's been announcing all year.
Yeah,
right?
we were at the last Bagger Racing League race at Willow Springs, and I went out because I've been doing their announcing in their broadcast booth for their like YouTube live video coverage they do. So I was just up in the booth calling the race. That's what I did for him this year because my leg is still pretty messed up. So yeah, and then Jay and another friend of ours went out and hung out with us and watched the racing and stuff. So yeah, that's what we were doing out there.
Are you still racing once your leg heals up?
I want to, but my leg's going to determine if I can or not. I'm trying to get my leg better so that I can. We're talking about maybe going racing next year. So yeah, we're still throwing ideas around. I mean, I still have my bike. I mean, my bike hasn't been raced in a year and a half now. It's just been sitting there.
No.
So I need to do something with it, whether I race it or have someone else race it, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm kind of itching to get back to the racing or going to the races this year and just announcing's been fun, but I want to get back like in the pits and back on the racetrack. Yeah.
If you don't, you can always travel.
Yeah.
Take those trips.
Yeah, for sure. And like racing for me is kind of like those reset weekends, like a good solo road trip are. I mean,
Yeah.
they're a lot of work though. That's the hard part, but I it's what I love doing, and they just kind of reset me and make me think about why I do what I do. You know what I mean? Kind of remind me that I love this stuff. So, yeah.
That's what happened to me with this last trip because I kind of took a step back on motorcycle I just kind of got busy with life,
Sure.
buying this land and all that. And I took this trip and I was like, man, I remember why
Yeah.
I'm in this.
Sure.
So another crazy thing I've had, you know how I'm always changing things on my bike,
Yeah.
the pipe. I thought about swapping it to a Batwing just because I had a Batwing and I like the fairing being closer to me.
Mm-hmm.
But then once I get out in the open road, the shark nose is just better for
Yeah.
long distance and all that. But
Yeah, it cuts wind, man.
it does. It has a better air pocket.
Mm-hmm.
It just flows better because the Batwing has a little buffeting sensation.
Yeah.
So
A lot more
Yeah.
so. And,
That's
and you
frame
feel
out.
it, the bike, you feel all that wind
yeah,
in the chassis.
yeah.
It moves the bike around.
I just wanted to change, but I'm not going to change that.
Yeah.
You better not go and road glide that Batwing. What's wrong with you, Kel? Come on.
Yeah, I know. That's what everybody said. I talked to people about that. They said, "No, you're crazy."
Yeah. If you want to do that, just buy a Street Glide.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to.
You think so? I just don't like. Then I have to start over.
Yeah. But that's not bad, right?
I like the new 24 Street Glides.
I actually I don't mind the new Batwing fairing. I think it's kind of good looking. A lot of people hate it. I don't mind it though.
It's that change.
You
man,
can't
that
put
gets us.
T-bars on it, though. I mean, you can, but you don't get the usage of that drawer. Put
Yeah.
on there.
Right.
So
Yeah. T-bars definitely don't fit a Batwing fairing as well. Any year, let alone the new one. But
yeah,
what do you do?
yeah, I like them, but like you said,
Right. Well, cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming over and hanging out with us this morning. And, if people want to kind of follow along in your, what you got going on, or maybe hit you up or whatever, if they're out on the road, where can they find you?
Instagram. That's all I got.
Okay.
I don't have Facebook or
And what's your Instagram handle?
American Asian with the M and American Asian _HD.
Okay. Cool. So we can follow along, see what you're doing, what you're changing on the bike this go around,
Yeah.
or what trips you might be doing. So that's cool, man. I think it's cool, man. It sounds as though, like, for a dude that's kind of gotten into the industry about 10 years ago, you've ridden a lot of miles. You're making friends around the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's cool, man.
That's the best part about this industry is, like, I would never, if it wasn't for that bike, I would have never met all these guys.
Right.
Because I wouldn't have gone cross country. I wouldn't have gone to V-Twin. And it's just a cool network.
It
know
is.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a cool kind of, tight group of people, but that doesn't mean that, like, there might not be a new dude that comes into that group today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always, it's not a private club, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like anybody can just buy a bike and go out ride and just network and hang out with these people and meet them. And yeah, it's like all of a sudden you've got friends in every state.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a cool thing
Yeah.
that these bikes provide.
Staying at people's houses
Yeah.
I met on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Places to crash.
Yeah.
For free, man. You're not spending that extra money on a room.
No, that's
And
cool,
catching
man.
up.
And I like to hear that. And I'm glad that, we're one of those kind of,
Yeah.
shops and friends and stuff that, we got a buddy from North Carolina, you know what I mean? If he's out here, like, he swings in, and so that's cool, man. I, glad to be part of your little circle.
Oh, yeah.
So, right on, man. Well, thanks for coming on. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yep.